Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it is time for my lower body day, but a quick reminder, if you guys will please click like down below, be greatly appreciated. If you are not following or subscribed, please do so. And if you will be so kind as to drop me a comment down below, I would appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let's get over to the training. Yes, the sun was not up yet, so this is just my garage light. So today I did pretty much high bar, deep pause squats. So what I'm doing with a lot of this stuff, because I need to make sure I'm stimulating as much muscle growth as possible while I'm going to slowly trim down doing all this cardio, the 2 hours of cardio I'm doing every day. So what I want to do is make sure I am maximizing muscle growth. So you guys will notice we're doing 10 to 12. Most of it's 12 sets per muscle group. I'm focusing really hard on making sure that we are doing good ranges of motion on everything, trying to progress where I'm able to. That may be tough, but some of this stuff is like I did the pause squats last time for triples, but it's like, let's see if we can get them deeper with long pauses to where the last rep is challenging. Now, they're obviously not to failure. The last rep, I still have at least another rep in reserve, but they're challenging enough. And I know people are like, 315, you squatted 500. Yeah, but that 500 was right at just barely below parallel, and it wasn't doing this high bar stuff. So the idea here, I'm trying to put as much tension on the quads as possible, especially cutting. I do not want my quads to shrink. I need to make sure that they are getting growth stimulus. I'm trying to give them any extra stimulus I can. So things like quads, calves, because those are the muscles that are really going to burn the calories while I'm walking. And if I can keep my quads in a growth state or an anabolic environment, I'm not going to take the big hit to my squat from the cutting, which is what happened to me before. So I've got my squat back. I got it back to 500. I don't want to not be able to squat 500 at a lighter body weight and leaner as we go along. So I really, really want to double down on things like quad work. So again, making sure I get that. And if we reduce weight, we reduce weight. Not a big deal. Yes, I'm aware you guys have watched me do, 5 to 7 reps with 405. But again, not doing this sort of really narrow stance. We're not paused. So notice that we are all the way to the bottom. Deepest possible stretch. So I am taking that knee through the longest range possible. I'm giving a pause at the bottom to maintain that hardest tension. So again, the idea, I want to keep the quads, adductors, the glutes, all that, trying to grow from this stuff. So the same thing, we did deficit deadlifts. And I went on a big deficit. Didn't do a 1 inch. We stood on a 2.5 inch plate. Fives were challenging. In fact, after 2 sets of this, I stopped. I was going to do 3, but I'm like, this took a lot out of me. I'll probably work up to 3. I feel like 3 would be better. That way we get 12 sets for everything, right? Again, challenging enough to be close enough to failure to get a growth response. Not all out sets, but again, these are squats and deadlifts, not necessary. They just need to be hard. And these were hard, the sets of 5. They were tough. That last rep, you can tell I'm working hard, right? It's not to failure, but it's like, I'm definitely well into those upper threshold fibers. And that's kind of the idea. So the really deep deficits. So keep in mind, I lose 40 to 50 pounds off my deadlift when I do this. So if you think about the math, pretty close to failure, not quite failure, because it'd be the same as doing about 475 for 5, which I can manage. I can manage right now. Probably get 7, so it's probably a couple reps in the tank. But again, hard enough for these movements, because I'm going harder, obviously, on some of the other stuff. We're taking them a little more challenging. So the calf raises, I increased the weight. I was only able to get about 7 reps. Because I was getting 8, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to go much over 8, and I feel like 8 was comfortable, so let's go up 20 more pounds. I got 7 rep sets. So again, the idea here, and I feel like, I need to focus on getting a little better lockout on some of these. The last set felt really, really good, though. First set was a little dicey there. That tends to happen on these for me. So again, went up to 425. So again, the same thing, stretch. So I'm trying to take things through a nice long range of motion. Obviously, I'm pretty sweaty by this point. So again, thinking like a bodybuilder with all this stuff while still keeping some fairly heavy squat, bench, and deadlift in. So that's why, again, it's going to be power building. But I've got to be looking at, am I maximizing every last drop of muscle growth? Because again, if we're going to be sliding into a deficit here, even if it's from doing the cardio and then lots of carbs and keeping the fat really low, I want to make sure that my body is trying to gain muscle. So that, again, we want to lose only fat, and if possible, we want to not only retain muscle, all of it, in theory, gain it, maybe some of my weak points and stuff. So again, the idea, I'm trying to maximize muscle growth. It's no longer just about moving big weights or creating neural drive. So notice again, I'm trying to do everything 5+ reps now, which is pretty much where we are. All right, nothing is under 5. And really only things like my bench are hitting that. All the other stuff has been 6+. 6 to 10 has been kind of my normal on all the other stuff. So again, we're still not doing, really high reps. There's no need. We're keeping it moderately heavy. So again, the goal is about 12 sets a week per muscle group. Obviously, and then even the delts, I'm counting it as 12 sets of delts. I'm not counting all the, the pulling, and the rowing and the benching and stuff towards that, when I say the 12. So again, trying to make sure that we get 12. I am counting chin-ups towards biceps, but I'm also doing curls. Not counting rows towards it, counting dips towards triceps. So that's the math that I'm more or less doing. So the idea here, again, stimulate muscle growth, trying to be in the optimal volume, trying to, optimal volumes. I don't think for most people over about 12 is worth doing. And I've discussed why quite a bit. So again, the belt squats, we're taking these as deep as possible. So instead of a wider stance, I'm taking a fairly close stance. I'm going down as far as I possibly can. So these are done now ass to grass, meaning my calf is completely resting against the hamstring. So the idea, taking the knee joint through the full range of motion, making sure the quads are getting the most work possible, okay? That is very, very much the plan. So I want to make sure my quads are growing. So this gave me 6 really, really good sets for quads today. They were burning. And again, keeping in mind what muscles are going to matter most for burning calories, and I'm walking quads and calves. So I need to keep them in that situation. Plus, all our legs always look smaller when we cut. They always start looking smaller if we're not careful. I am trying to bias my training towards the side to rear delt and the long head of the tricep. But you guys watch my upper body days and the shoulder stuff here later. That's kind of where my bias is slightly. But everything is still pretty balanced, because I do know if those areas come up, if I get leaner and I can just bring up the delts, those parts of the delt and that long head of the tricep, it'll make all the difference, especially when my waist gets smaller. All right, glute ham raise is just like I had to stop at 2 sets on the deadlift. I had to stop at 2 sets. So these, I'm now doing the full range of motion. We're going all the way down, getting the back involved, and locking the knee so that I get that full lengthened position, trying to take these through the longest range of motion that I am capable of doing, which is what we're doing. And again, hamstrings were a little crampy. So even the second set, trying to climb up there, it started cramping. So I had to really stretch them out and debate, do I want to do a third set? If I do a third set and they cramp too much, it's going to be rear delts and stuff. I'm going to struggle to not cramp on those, and I need those delt exercises. So I'm like, okay, we got to get used to the deficit deadlifts and doing the long range of motion glute ham raise, which the latter tends to give me cramps if I'm not careful. Also know that I need a little more electrolytes. So I added some extra salt and stuff to my rice here for breakfast, because I did over an hour of walking afterwards before breakfast. So we're getting the blog done now. So again, on these, I couldn't even finish the second set. It's like, man, hamstrings ran out of steam, but that's a good thing. They got plenty of work. We did get 6 sets the other day, because we did 3 sets of deadlifts, 3 sets of glute ham raises or reverse hypers. But now I want to push the hamstrings up another notch. I don't feel like I have to do a lot of reverse hypers. I'll do some. Just to keep the low back obviously strong, but I feel like deficit deadlifts for reps, this stuff, all the rowing I'm doing, definitely working it. I do like the prehab of it, of course, so I'll still work some in. All right, upright rows. So again, trying to take these through a long range of motion, so I'm trying to not stop short, so I'm using a light enough weight instead of trying to use 135 or whatever and stop it at the low chest, so that I can go as high as my shoulders will allow. I'm going to basically my full range of motion. So I'm picking a weight that lets me do that as far as I can go about with the empty bar. So again, upright row for just overall shoulder development. So it's our big compound that hits all 3 heads, hits the upper trap. And then I'm finishing up with rear delts. So last time I did laterals was just a slight forward lean. I'm like, let's take that same thing a little further, because I do feel like my rear delts and stuff have been a little understimulated. So I don't even need the extra front delt work from the side lateral. I'm better just putting all that focus into the rear. So after the upright rows, which this is a little more reps than I got last time with this same weight, trying to go all the way as high as I can. So again, trying to not cheat, go as high as possible, forces us to use less weight. And then we did the incline rear delt raises, okay? So this exercise, by using the incline bench, it removes our ability to cheat, lets us put a little more emphasis on the posterior delt. Obviously the trap and side delt and everything are going to be used. They're unavoidable, but putting more focus onto the rear delt. Obviously it's still a good side delt and upper trap exercise as well. But again, making sure that area gets hit, right? Even though we are doing rows, we're doing chins, doing the other shoulder work, it's a one area that I do need to double down on and make sure that we get. So pretty much ended the workout here. This ends my training week other than all the cardio. And then if I do any little band work or stuff in between, pretty happy with it today. I feel like I got a lot done, so I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.